I remember when Disney first bought Star Wars. Yeah.
What's going on, Review Tarts? As always, I'm trying my best to replace Mike with Gaggy, Blown, and don't worry about the other one.
It's your boys!
What's going on, Review Tarts? So today we're going to change it up a little bit since it's our Star Wars review special. So, Blown, what were you expecting going into this movie?
Going into this movie, I really wanted to like this one. I had mixed feelings on the last movie, so I was expecting more out of this, but we'll get into where we got.
Mike, what'd you expect?
Honestly, I had really low expectations for this movie just because...
You hate Star Wars? Yeah.
Well, I don't like the Disney films so far, and I figured I was going to have such a low expectation of this movie that coming out of the movie at the end, I was actually going to be like, wow, I really like that or something. And, yeah.
Gaggy, what were you expecting?
Expecting it to be better.
Better than the Force Awakens?
I was expecting it to be better than Force Awakens. I can't really pick which one is better because Force Awakens was just a rehash of New Hope, and then this one had Empire Strikes Back like things, and
Well, Star Wars is that one series. It's just so hard. It's so hard not to get behind. Like, you just want it to be good so bad that as soon as you see a trailer,
because you grew up with it.
Right, that's my point. So it's so hard to like not be excited and expect it to be amazing because we're used to.
Is it safe to say that, like, for all of us here, Luke Skywalker is like the first hero you can really remember as a kid?
No.
I grew up on I think it was in order for me, Power Rangers, Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like some of the animated stuff on TV that you saw every day. I don't think I really understood Star Wars or grasped it until I was a little bit older. And that's what a criticism we could probably jump into later. I feel like this movie and these set of movies really have abandoned the Star Wars that we grew up watching, which was episodes 1, 2, and 3. Not that, those were great movies or anything like that, but they've abandoned a lot of the things that they brought up.
You mean the prequels? Or?
The prequels.
Okay.
Like, for example, the whole idea of how... I'll give you just an easy example. Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, how Emperor Palpatine rose to power is just clearly illustrated. And yeah, some of the dialogue's a little bogged down, but you understand it. But you understand it.
Yeah.
This is how things happen. Who's the new Empire? Or who? I'm sorry, the
Snoke?
The New Order. Or what is it, the First Order?
First Order.
The First Order. That's exact. Who's the First Order?
They rose up out of the ashes of the Empire.
Oh, that's explained really well.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's Snoke?
he just kind of walked in and said, "Yo."
That's what I'm saying. These are things like where
that
the general public,
issues.
the general movie-going public would say, oh, well, that stuff's kind of boring. But it gives the story so much more substance that you need to put it in there. You don't need all this flashy crap all the time. You need a little bit of, how did we get to where we're at? I'm not invested and I don't care.
Perfect example for that. I'm watching The Force Awakens last night with my mom, and she goes, "So who is this guy?" Pointing at Snoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, I can't answer that.
Yeah. There's no build-up to anything. We're just throwing these characters, and we don't know why we're at this step where we are. We don't know why we are where we are.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that there are plot holes big time in this entire
Well,
story so far.
The thing that's, and this is everybody saying, oh, they took risks and they paid off in this movie. They don't pay off because everything, and granted, I do not like Force Awakens. It's there. Everything J.J. Abrams sets up that caused 2 years of theories and all this other stuff, they basically said, we're not going to answer any of that, and the stuff we are going to answer, we're going to choose the most blanket fucking thing. Guess what? Rey's parents are nobody.
Maybe.
Well, what was so
That's
frustrating...
the thing, too, is you don't know if he's lying.
Mike kind of touched on it for a second because they kind of set up... Everything they set up, even from 1, 2, 3 with the midichlorians... Mm-hmm. Is that a thing anymore?
Well, they won't say the word because prequels are banned.
But they're definitely it's a part of canon. So you have to, you know what I mean? So like
perfect example.
But then moving forward, like did Ryan Johnson totally just disregard what J.J. Abrams started?
Essentially, he basically said, "I'm going to say fuck you to all the fans."
He basically like fuck this. I'm just gonna pull a U-turn and we're gonna do something else.
Yeah.
2 examples. Ready? One for it, bouncing off that puppet Yoda. I think that most people that saw the prequels 1, 2, and 3 didn't have a problem with the way Yoda looked, talked. If anything, you would like if you watched in our generation, if you watched the original Star Wars film, saw Yoda, you're like, okay, they had a puppet, I understand, and then you went and saw 1, 2, and 3. Which Yoda do you like more?
Okay.
I like the wise. Me personally, I like the wise.
I don't care if it's puppet or CGI. What I had the problem with was the fact that it looked like they CGI'd the puppet.
That's looks what they did. And the thing too is that Yoda's. The idea when George Lucas wrote Yoda's part was that kind of like the weird gesture traveling across the road ends up being one of the most wise and powerful beings in the galaxy. So we've gotten past that. We know who Yoda is. We've seen him in 1, 2, and 3 and how wise and powerful he was. And let's go back to a jokester. You know what I'm saying? It's almost kind of like the Yoda that you knew is now just it was almost kind of like a throwaway. Like let's put Yoda in there. Let's check a box. I felt like this whole time the movie was just trying to check boxes instead of telling
I also
the story.
did not like that Yoda was able to do like Force lightning as a Force ghost. I'm sorry, if you're a Force ghost, you shouldn't be able to do any of that other than communicate.
I think from here we could probably jump into the use of the Force in this movie was obnoxious.
Fucking
terrible. And you could tear movies apart for like, oh, I'm gonna
stupid scene or something.
Yeah, you could sit there and be like, I'm gonna fanboy this because that's not how this works. But when it gets to the point where they're using a new Force ability that you haven't seen in any other film, and they're having characters use the Force that you've never even seen that like them use it or hint that they can. And it's such a prominent part of the movie with no explanation. It's just kind of the same thing where, like, I'm sure you probably could go, oh, well, I can cite this in the extended universe of when X, Y, or Z happened. That's cool.
3 versus 1.
No, that's I understand. No, you don't understand. That's totally fine. That's cool.
It's not anymore though. It's Legends. It's no longer canon.
I'm not. Here's my problem. Here's my problem with it is that that's fine, and I think that's cool, and I wish they included that stuff, but they don't give you any explanation. They just do it on screen, and then you go, like, so when Leia pulled herself into the ship, did everybody else look around and just go, what the fuck?
That's what I was going to bring up. That's what I was going to ask you. Has anything in any Legends, can Leia do that?
We're on Force power stuff, right? And
yeah.
all that stuff. Okay. So, the thing, for any of you that don't know about it, in the Legends, the Force powers in there are much greater and stronger than we've seen in any film so far, except for this one, which was kind of cool that they pulled it from there and they recognized it. Leia, for example, in Legends, she touched up on her Force powers a little bit. Mm-hmm. I remember she's the child of Anakin and stuff like that. She had a minor understanding of it where she could like sense everybody around her and pretty much, and she had a basic knowledge of how to use the Force and like pull herself and whatnot. In space, I don't know.
That's right.
It's so out of
nowhere.
And I'm gonna scientific this real quick. Wouldn't she be blown to bits?
She'd be dead.
She'd be dead instantly.
She'd be like ripped apart and stuff like that.
They took a bit from Guardians of the Galaxy and put it in a Star Wars movie.
What I thought would have made more sense if they made Kylo push her with his Force instead.
No. How about she gets trapped under something and has to use the Force to lift it off her?
See, I would have believed that.
Or something along those. Literally anything else besides her forcing herself.
I just want to know who sat in the room and wrote that. Like, whoever sat in the room and wrote that.
I have fully accepted the fact that they just killed her. Remember, I turned to you in the movie and go, dude, all right. That solves that issue.
I figured they had multiple opportunities to kill off that character, but they actually shot the whole movie, and now what are they're just going to be, the next movie's going to come out, and are they going to try and, what's that guy, where they CGI'd his face?
No, they won't. I don't think they'll do that for a full. They already said they won't full.
Well, that was
so they're just going to write her out?
That's the thing. No, they did not. No.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away, 4 months ago? However long ago?
A little while.
Either way, Carrie Fisher passed, so everyone was trying to speculate what were they going to do with her character, being that they can't shoot any more scenes with her.
Disney already came out and said they're not going to do the facial CGI and stuff.
And of course, if you're watching this, spoilers, It says spoilers.
I don't get how many fucking times you guys click on these videos and be like, oh, you're a fucking spoiler. It's a spoiler channel. We're a spoiler channel.
It says it in the fucking title.
God, Daddy, calm down. Chill.
You guys are dumb.
So,
Sorry you guys had to see that. Gaggy loses control.
At the end, we of course see Carrie Fisher is still like a central character into the plot. Like she's literally in the middle of it.
Disney's original plan was to have 7 be Harrison Ford's movie, this one be Mark Hamill's movie, and then the last one be Carrie Fisher's movie. In my opinion, Carrie Fisher should have been killed off in the first one because she's the worst actor left of the 3.
Well, I think Harrison Ford just wanted out. But
Yes, but I think he was the best part of Force Awakens.
Either way, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't even know if they have a direction with this. Like, I think they have like a very vague overall where they want it to go, but I don't think that they have a roadmap of how they're going to get there that makes sense.
Right.
I think they're more concerned with checking off boxes.
I thought they were gonna Fast and Furious it.
I think they had a plan, and I think Rian Johnson was just like, okay, that's your plan.
Well,
I'm going to do it this way.
I think the board on Disney would probably go, okay, that's cool. Yeah, change up the plan. We don't really care so much as the plan. Just make sure you include a couple female leads. Make sure you include a couple fan service things, and then make sure you include some new characters.
Gareth Edwards in the most fucking obvious cameo of all time.
Well, I'll give you an example. If you search Star Wars, if you search the movie, I want to see what other people were seeing before we did this review. You're going to get the first 2 things that are going to pop up. The first one is that the new character,
Kelly Marie Tran?
Rose.
Yeah.
Rose is breaking some record for being the first Asian female lead in a movie to make over X amount of dollars.
She's not a lead.
Exactly, but that's the first hit you're going to get as far as a news result.
So it's not a good addition. Sorry.
Right, but I'm just saying is that this is what I'm talking about, where they checked a box. They had another female lead character, so that will bring more of a diverse audience in to watch the movie. That box is checked. Disney's okay. They don't care if the story gets told correctly or if the movie goes in a good direction. They checked a box with more people that'll go see this movie.
Well, they're gonna make $1 billion either way.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's more.
Right. What I'm really surprised about is that not one of the characters in this movie was the first openly gay character, and then they don't directly touch upon that at all in this movie.
You thought they would have a...
Well, you know how Big Hollywood's been doing this.
Which one's gay?
None of them. Big Hollywood's been doing this. Oh, look at you got the first openly gay character in this type of universe or something like this, and it's like they don't touch upon it at all in the movie, but they come out and say before the movie comes out, yeah, this person's gay.
Then here's the thing, like I have no problem with that either. It's just, I'm surprised they haven't because they would check
cheap,
the box.
Yes, it's a cheap story point that they can sit there and say this diversifies the character instead of actually giving them a reason that they're diversified.
I feel like at this point the thing is how many box office records can we break? How many people can we go see this movie? Because people that are like true Star Wars fans, as far as like the books, the TV shows, any video games come out, played all of it. I think that almost all of them have to watch this movie and go, I don't know how you feel, but as far as I've grown up watching Star Wars, I just can't get behind this at all.
It's making me want Episode 9 to get this over with.
Yeah.
And then I hope they just don't touch it. Let the 9 go, and then do your Han Solo story, do your Boba Fett story, do your Obi-Wan thing.
I don't want them touching Han Solo.
That's
they can't hurt that much. I feel like
it can't hurt as much as when they
I think they can.
They fired their directors and completely reshot the film. The film was done. They fired the directors and completely reshot it.
This one?
Han Solo.
Oh. No, I would
just
say
hope they just leave this.
They should not have touched the old characters. They should not have touched the old characters.
But getting back to the movie, like I wanted to hear you guys' opinions on like the casino scene.
Horrible.
What'd you
Absolutely stupid.
I know everybody's ripping on that, and I'll say that it has no business being in the movie, but I could even go bigger picture and say this movie didn't bring the story anywhere.
But I feel like going back to like checking boxing, it's almost like, we need to have a fun action
No.
scene.
Cantina scene.
You know why they had that scene? It's because Rian Johnson said, well, we've seen everything in the Star Wars universe except for the upper class. So we're going to show the upper class, and it's going to be, they're really rich because they're selling weapons and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't give a fuck about your vision or why this, like, whatever political statement you're trying to say here, I don't care. Keep that shit out of Star Wars. That's the big issue everybody had about the prequels, was that it was all politics driven. I kind of like that. And the politics that they showed in this movie did not work for me.
I think that I see the thing is that when they showed the politics in the prequels, it was, yeah, you can sit there and say like politics or whatever, but the thing is that it gave you a story of how we got to where we're at, whereas that gives nothing to the story. The casino scene, you're like, okay, they're shitty people. Like, are they trying to drive the point home of like, oh, war just keeps these two sides going and everything like that? But, you know, throughout this, there's no one direction, because if that's the direction that they're trying to get at the fact that, oh, we got to stop this fighting because all it's doing is making the crappy people in the universe rich. Okay, well, the whole time they're trying to drive home the fact that even though the resistance is getting beat up and even though we're on our last legs, we're still going to fight. So, like, even there's no overall
story. The spark that ignites the fire of the resistance. They say that like 5 times, and I wanted to just gouge my fucking eyes out. And my ears.
I mean, we can go even bigger picture. This whole series, it almost doesn't have a point, because
talking 7, 8, eventually
7, 8, and eventually 9. Because here's the thing: so you had the Resistance defeat the Empire, and that made sense. You had this like, how do we get the Empire? Those are 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we had the Resistance fight the Empire and beat them. 5, 6, 7. And then there's this new order that came, and they barely briefly touch on, it rose from the Empire. Okay, so the Resistance just kind of died out? Like, it's there, but it's so weak now. There's like 20 people in a bunker by the end of this movie, and they say, Leia tried to grab her friends from like the Outer Rim and everything like that, and nobody responded.
They're like, nah. Here's a big point to that. You remember the scene when what did they call it? Dreadnought it might have been Snoke's ship, was just destroying all the rebel cruisers that were trying to flee to that planet.
Yeah.
They say, in the comms, we see 13 ships are fleeing to that planet once they take down the shields and whatever, with the cloaking device. Mm-hmm. Then you see about 9 of those ships get destroyed immediately. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, way more people than that survived. Mm-hmm. There should have been literally just Leia's fucking ship survived, if that's what they were going to fucking do. Because at no point do they fight and actually do anything. It's, no, we're going to drive these ships out, and then we're just going to flee back because we can't do anything. That was the stupidest fucking build-up to something I've ever seen.
Well, the entire plot, like, with the plot of the movie was just like a getaway movie. It was just like, we're gonna destroy their
This is my...
And then, like, we're just gonna try to get away.
The movie brought the story nowhere.
Right.
Do you know what this fucking story was?
Nothing. I mean, it was nothing.
This story about they're finding us through our hyperspace jump, through our lightspeed jump, is literally a fucking episode of Battlestar Galactica, where the Cylons just kept fucking jumping and catching the humans to the point where the humans were, like, up for 3 weeks straight, and they were just gonna fucking exhaust the humans to death. This is literally the same fucking thing, but it's just, we're waiting for the fuel to run out.
Yeah.
God damn it, this movie took place over a couple of days. I don't understand how you do something that just, we're going to keep getting away. We're going to keep getting away. That's not a good story to build
also,
or progress.
In space, you don't need that much fuel. There's no friction stopping you.
He's not wrong.
Once you start moving in a direction, you move in that direction.
The only thing that stops you is some force. So if you get light speed and go, as long as you just don't hit the brakes, you're gonna keep going.
I thought it was Futurama where everything just bends around your
ship. Yeah, you're moving the spaces.
That's legitimately the science behind it. Like space travel is, you have to move the space around you.
I get that, like, a lot of the science in it, though, none of it even makes sense. Like, even
the big argument that this isn't true science fiction because none of the science.
How about when she hits the ship with going light speed?
Yeah, that's another that's another point, is that I don't know what, like, I want to sit there and you can predict the direction that they're going in, and I don't know what the overall thing is. Are they trying to throw off people that are trying to predict? Because where do they go from here? And even
with nobody, raised parents might be nobody.
There's a lot of questions they didn't answer.
Yeah, and a lot of questions they just said, nope, fuck you, here's the answer.
Yeah, they didn't, it was terrible. But with the lightspeed jump, that was one of the few good things about the movie, was that scene alone was probably one of the coolest, like, scenes. Visually, like, while you're watching it in theaters, you're just like, it goes dead silent, they completely cut the speakers, and you could, anybody in the stadium goes, or in the theater goes, oh shit, you'll hear it because they completely cut out any sound, and it looks awesome. But there's this amazing scene, and the whole time that's going through my head is, why didn't she just do that earlier? You know what I'm saying? The whole, like, the second they noticed that the ships were trying to get away, why didn't she just shoot her thing at, she was planning on dying anyway. So you could have...
The whole point was the ships were, I thought about that too, but the ships were cloaked, and they didn't know the ships were going to get uncloaked.
Right, but I'm saying the second she found out, like, it took her, so they show multiple scenes of, they found out, the First Order found the ships. Yeah. About 4 or 5 of them blow up. They show a shot of her face just watching the 4 or 5 of them blow up. And then...
Well, how long does it take to turn around with Stark?
That's...
You don't know.
How long does it take to make that decision?
No, he's got a point. You don't know.
Okay, I don't know. But my point is, I don't know, to make the decision. Just make the decision that she's going to do it. If anything, she should have. She had this plan going, which she didn't share with anybody for some reason. Why didn't she plan that in the first place? Hey, we're gonna shoot our ship at theirs and let you guys get away.
Don't just gloss over the fact, because I think that's one of the big deterrents of this movie. The entire time you're sitting there thinking, oh, this chick is Poe. We want to follow Poe because this chick is obviously just, she wants power and whatever. She likes being in control and she's not gonna listen to anybody else. And then it's like, no, she's really great. She just feels she doesn't have to share things with other people. No, I don't like the turn of that character.
Yeah,
I preferred it with the conflict within the Resistance. I thought that was a better storyline than going, no, you just didn't need to know.
I feel like that's the biggest thing with this movie is that they constantly put things on screen that you're like, oh yeah, Star Wars, these are things I liked, I grew up with, like whatever, this awesome scene, this awesome shot, this awesome whatever. But the whole time, instead of enjoying what they want you to, you're like, that was a dumb decision. Why did they do that? This makes no sense.
It was almost like they're like, because it is, therefore it's great.
All right, hang on. Worst scene for you?
Worst scene
in the movie?
I mean, I was not a fan of the casino scene.
The what?
Casino.
Okay.
Scene.
Best scene in the movie for you?
I mean, I don't think there was one best scene for me. I mean, are we gonna get into what we like the best?
No. I honestly want to know. I want to know.
Like, best scene probably when she hit the that took apart just because of the visuals.
Worst scene?
That's a tough one. The Leia thing was the worst scene for me. I literally had to sit look and go, what the fuck?
I'll choose something different on mine. Go ahead.
Best scene for me, probably when Rey and Kylo were fighting the.
That's a good one.
Not them killing Snoke because I hated that, but the afterward where Kylo and Rey were trying to fight off the
red dudes,
the guards or whatever.
Like that?
That was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that's cool. The way they shot into that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But the here's again.
There was an applause in the theater, which I felt was earned for that.
Again, here's my example. But here's the example of where you're seeing something awesome on screen. Every one of ours you could do this for. You're seeing something awesome on screen, but the whole time you're going. Instead of enjoying the scene that I'm seeing on screen, I have to go, why is Snoke in this franchise?
Yeah.
And that's what's running through my head instead of enjoying what I'm seeing.
Worst scene for me, I don't get why this was in the movie, the milking scene. What the fuck is the point of that being in this movie? It was gonna be here. It's not funny. It was disgusting and it doesn't belong in a fucking Star Wars movie. And then the best scene for me is actually at the end. I don't know why. Maybe it's just my brand of comedy. After the AT-ATs fucking blast the spot, Luke just walks up and is like, I like that. I did. That landed for me.
But I could say again, why does it have to be in this movie?
It doesn't have to be. But I like the fact that he's just like, fuck you, Kylo. Like, I like that. Worst scene?
When Finn is fighting Phasma.
Oh.
Because
that's
and this
so bad I forgot all about that.
This is why. Okay. Disney, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm gonna whoop your ass. He calls her Chrome Dome.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The cheesy, corny he's fighting!
Yeah.
You're not gonna say, bring it on, buddy, with the wappy stick that he's got. Just fucking say I'm gonna fucking whoop.
The thing too is
I don't get it. It's
I think do you think they intentionally leave some characters without any backstory so that they could touch on them in a comic or a movie or something?
Absolutely.
Just so they can make like Phasma?
Absolutely.
I still have no idea who she is or why she's in the franchise.
There's a book about Phasma.
Oh.
Yeah. She has 5 minutes of screen time in 2 fucking movies, and everybody's like, oh my god, Gwendolyn Christie is Captain Phasma. Fuck that character. At no point does she progress the story. Like, oh, she takes the shields down. You could have done it with any fucking random stormtrooper too. Best scene.
I think
best scene was Luke's death.
Luke's
just
death.
He didn't die.
Just
He went.
just
He
the way they
became
did
one with the
Just the
Force.
way-
That might be everybody's worst scene for the movie, other than the Leia.
No, I didn't like that at all.
I hated that.
Stick to your guns, Gaggy.
I
Stick to your
hated watching
guns.
him die. But I was like, okay, they're doing the two sons, and he's going with the scene. Just everything.
It didn't make. It made no sense why it had to happen. And
It didn't need to.
With your scene too, I think a lot of people that know about the extended universe and everything like that would go, when Luke's standing out there in front of the entire army there, why do this new force projection thing that they've beat the hell out of in this movie? He could have taken out that entire army.
He could have.
He
He literally says at the beginning of the movie, "What do you think I'm going to do? Go take on the entire First Order by myself?"
And I think that's what
And he could have in that scene.
when you're talking about a big FU to the true, not only true Star Wars fans, but big fans of the Star Wars universe. I think that is where they're basically sitting there going, we probably could write Luke into standing in front of this army, which again, they had two scenes where one guy standing in front of an army. It's real original. They tried it twice throughout the movie. He could have just knocked both of them over. Both of the ATs on each side and done some, Lord of the Rings where you topple the one elephant and it falls into the other one.
And then Finn comes in going, "That still only counts as one."
Instead, they gave us a force projection, which is like...
I saw that coming, by the way.
Well, yeah.
I turned and I was like, "That's not him."
That's not really how.
Yeah. Which as soon as he showed up, I'm like, "That's not him. There's no way he's here right now." And then he has the blue lightsaber, and I go, "We just watched that get destroyed. So if anybody's falling for this, they're fucking idiots."
Well, plus they showed
The salt doesn't make the footprint.
yeah, you're wondering why they're doing okay, this
Yeah.
is Brent's foot, what are they doing? And then his slides, and you're like,
Nothing.
Okay, he's not hovering over the ground.
I also sat there and was like, he's not clashing lightsabers with him right now because he's a fucking force projection.
Does anybody else think that this is some of the worst lightsaber fighting and choreography that we've seen?
Yes, and you know what the worst part is?
Of all the movies
People
I've
are saying
seen.
it's the best because it looks the least choreographed. You're telling me when somebody has you like this and they rip off Captain America, that Winter Soldier, where she drops it, comes through,
that scene I thought was the only good one. What kind of is upsetting me is, so when Rey's training and she's doing this weird squat as she swings a lightsaber, it's one that they use the same shot in a lot of the trailers.
Yeah.
It just looks weird and unnatural. All of the lightsaber battles here, even the stances from Kylo, the stance of Luke's force projection, all of it is just... It's almost a different style, which is fine. I'm cool with changing it up, but it looks really bad.
I don't think any of these characters that they've had wield lightsabers or fight any type of weapon like that compared to any fighting we've seen in, say, the prequels. Because when I sit there and I watch them and I go, they're struggling against these fucking honor guards or whatever the hell were in Snoke's room.
Unexplained.
Yeah, I don't see these characters as being powerful. So you're going to sit there and tell me that Snoke, this all-powerful force wielder and stuff like that, needs all these guards around him. It seemed like those guys were only there just so that can happen at the end. I don't.
An awesome scene where you don't know why it's on screen, but it looks awesome.
You can't tell me that there wasn't so far a better lightsaber fight than Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Oh no,
that was the ending of that sucked. But if someone's gonna say that Rey and Kylo's fight or what they did with the was better than that, they physically taught Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen how to fight each other like that. They tested them through everything and they learned how to fight that. And you're gonna say that, all right, Rey doing one or two little flips.
Well, people say it's too choreographed.
Bullshit.
Who fucking cares?
That makes it for a great fight.
So here's the thing: drop it down a little bit, not to this weird. It really does look like. Honestly, there's a video on the internet of two guys in a parking lot outside of a premiere of this movie fighting with plastic lightsabers. Better than what I've seen in the movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be over choreographed, but it looks like the stunt people or whoever choreographed this is just kind of like, all right, make it like we understand, because we understand from a story standpoint that these people aren't that trained. You know, like as far as Kylo Ren is supposed to be, but Rey isn't supposed to be
He's
that
the
trained.
weakest piece of bitch we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie. He's the worst. Kylo.
You really liked him in the last movie.
I hated him in the last movie. I really liked him in this one.
So using that as a segue, what if you had to say something was good about this movie? What would you give it?
Character development for characters I did not like in the first one. I liked Rey in this one. I liked Kylo in this one. And
that's where I was. That's what I was gonna say. I really liked Rey and I really liked Kylo in this. I liked they did a good job portraying his struggle.
Yes, a lot better than him being a whiny little guy in the first one.
So is it as far as like things you what was it?
I liked the struggle in Rey.
The things you liked or characters you liked was the question.
Oh, that's pretty much
What did he feel they improved upon?
I would say that this is visually the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Space battles look amazing.
The space battles, how I know the weird salt scene, whatever. Like it's kind of weird, but visually it is awesome. Like if you sit there,
the plaid.
Yeah, that was visually the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
And I thought the Battle of Coruscant was cool space wise, but this one was.
Yeah.
I also can I bring up one thing? That whole scene in the beginning where it's like the remote's falling. And it fell past, it's going into space. How is she breathing? You know, the chick who catches the remote magically because she wasn't in the right position to actually catch it the way they show her catching? Well, how is she breathing if the doors are open?
Mike, they check their box, they don't care.
Space is a fucking vacuum! It's a vacuum, people!
Vacuum.
Vacuum.
Vacuum. Yeah, no.
But you guys say it like that, that's so weird.
Because that's how you pronounce.
They check their box.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, vacuum.
Thank you.
Vacuum.
Vacuum.
Cool Whip.
So, I would make a bold prediction and say that if this is one thing that's kind of upsetting me too, with if you look at IGN's review for this, they'll say oh, this movie was great, and then they kind of ask these questions that are pretty asinine questions, oh, why do you think they did what they did with Snoke? And they'll give some asinine answers oh, they're trying to show that he's not really important to the story, that the story is truly about
they don't have him in the fucking movie.
Well, the issue with Star Wars too is Star Wars is a religion and you can't question religion, so all these reviews are going to be giving it really good marks. However, because you can't speak bad about Star Wars.
The thing is that
it's blasphemous if you do.
A lot of the mainstream reviews will sit there and say this movie's great, and then they'll question all these things that happened because the movie really was shit. I would go so far as to say that if this didn't have the title of Star Wars, this movie would get ripped apart. Rotten Tomatoes would probably have it at a 30 or something like that.
Do you think it would have been reviewed better or worse than Gods of Egypt?
Great movie.
Never saw it.
Great movie.
Got
Not missing much.
What do you guys think of this current trend in Hollywood called, I commonly refer to it as death washing? It's where you relaunch a franchise with old characters and stuff like that, where you do stuff with you bring back characters from other things just to kill them. I'll elaborate on that. All of us growing up, episode 6 ends with they all lived happily ever after. They defeat the Empire. Han and Leia are together. Luke goes on to create a new Jedi Order with expanded universe, stuff that expands upon that. But for me, it didn't. It was just I always these characters were alive and they were happy and they did the thing. They stopped the bad guys. Now growing up, it's I'm having to face reality in a fantasy thing that I used to escape from reality, and it's I don't want to sit there and think of Han Solo as being dead. I have to now. And I don't want to sit there and think of Luke Skywalker destroying the Jedi Order because he accidentally lit up a lightsaber when he was thinking about potentially killing Kylo Ren, and that tears everything.
You're also forgetting the most important character they killed off with no explanation.
Admiral
Akbar.
Rest in peace.
It's a trap.
It was episode 8. It's a trap.
I think that Disney just needs to sit there and go, if you have this expanded universe that people have paid...
Pull from it.
Well, you have to pull from it, but the thing is that, did they sell books?
Yeah.
Did the books sell?
There's comic books now, too.
They
sold them, which means it's a product that people liked and enjoyed and bought.
Yeah.
Okay, do they have video games? Some pretty highly rated stuff,
Old Republic.
Old Republic.
Battlefront 2.
No.
No, the OG Battlefront 2.
Yeah, but you have these things that are this expanded universe where people really like it and are really, they paid for it. They're not just going to buy a ticket for it. So you have a lot to draw on, and they just kind of ignore it, and they take new things that some guy in a room came up with, like a force projection, and they display it without any explanation. Instead of things that they could pull from. It's just like a good example would be how Marvel has a lot of source material, and they know how to pull from it. They don't need to pull a direct story. They pull from little stories here and there. They pull, enough to build the character. DC has all the source material and says, yeah, but people have already seen that, so let's give them something new.
No. DC sits there and goes, here's your characters. Look, we're going to completely change them.
Yeah.
End of statement.
Yeah. Disney has, I think Disney's done that with these last few movies where you go, here's a lot of source material about characters that people really care about, and we're just going to do what we want. I cannot stand the fact that it was 2 years and us thinking finally we're going to get some answers. Maybe they're going in,
because I always said after watching The Force Awakens, I'm excited to see where they go with it. I'm not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're 0 for 3 with me for their movies.
So does this stop you from seeing number 9?
I'm gonna illegally stream it. I'm not giving them theater money.
It's recorded.
I don't care. I will illegally.
This does not reflect the views of Rated R for review.
Hell, we're rated R. Fuck it. I'm not giving them theater money.
I want 9 to be done with, and then I pray to God they don't touch it. Whatever happens in 9 is fine, but then...
We know Rian Johnson's going to do his own trilogy.
Yeah, Rian Johnson.
So will this be a trilogy? Do you think they're going to stop at 9, or do you think they're making...
They're not going to continue the storylines of these.
You don't think they'll hit 10?
Why not? No. They're going to, but that trilogy is going to be something...
But will it be episode 10, 11, 12?
That's what, will they do 10, 11, 12, or are they going to do...
a Star Wars story, episode 1.
Are they going to do 7, 8, 9, 10? And then start off with something else? Like, 10's a nice round number. If he's got 3 more movies...
You're overthinking it, man.
This thing made, what was it? 10 million?
Well, money-wise, it's going to crush.
No, it made something like 10 million on Thursday night or something.
No, it wouldn't make
way more. It's some crazy number. But that was just on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Right? And every show I've tried to get to, like this weekend, sold out.
Did you notice that half our theater applauded and the other half was dead silent?
Well, yeah,
I have a feeling that I have a feeling that half the theater did not like it and half the theater did.
Well, it's funny. I remember one time, I don't remember what scene it was, but everyone's clapping and I'm going, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, why are people clapping?
I'll say that I think that kids like 7, 8, 9, 10, that age group, they're gonna love this movie and this franchise. They're gonna think it's the coolest thing ever.
This is my prequels. This is my original trilogy fans' prequels.
Right.
Seriously, if you think about that, we grew up in the perfect time. We grew up as kids with the prequels, and to us, all that combined story was Star Wars. We didn't sit there and we're like, I don't care about story. I still enjoy the prequels for what they were. Mm-hmm. It's like now that we're adults and we have full functioning brains, and we're just like, no, that bugs me for this reason.
I think,
whereas a kid, you don't understand why that bugs you. You just take it.
I think the thing too with the prequels and the original with the original trilogy, most of us saw that before you saw the prequels, right?
Yeah.
So you understand these characters, the idea of good and bad and whoever. Like you were saying, some of the first heroes that you saw. So you understand this really important story because, especially like your parents or whoever older generation was like, this is really important. This is a great movie. This is a big thing. And so you watch it and you're like, okay, it looks a little dated and everything like that. So when they came out with our prequels, we were like, oh, this is awesome. And the first time you saw a Phantom Menace,
saw it 11 times in theaters.
Jesus Christ!
Saw it with my dad 11 times.
Even though the CGI was crappy and everything like
That's
that,
why
you're like, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I think that this generation that's going to be watching this and really enjoying these movies probably doesn't like the original trilogy. Fair to say?
Who?
The kids, the 8, 9, 10-year-olds, they're going to go and watch this. Do you think they'll understand the importance of the original trilogy?
Yes.
You think they will?
Yes.
No way.
We did when we were their age. Why wouldn't they?
Because it's been that was
Doesn't matter.
almost 20 years ago. Like,
doesn't matter. We did when we were there. When we were there.
So
I think
so. We're talking like what 2001, 2, 3 ish.
Wait a minute, Mike. You thought Godzilla was real when you were 7, 8.
No. I thought Godzilla was real when I was like 4 or 5. You always like to blow that way out of
You were like
proportion.
15.
It's gonna like. Does this drown out the mic when you yell?
No, that's why I got to go through and edit it.
No. Yeah.
Anyway.
No, ain't the best.
My point is that I feel that
Keep talking. I'm just getting that tip.
I feel that
Was my ass?
That's sexual assault.
Was my ass crack on there? No?
Yeah.
Was it? Could you see it?
No.
I have a plumber's crack sometimes.
I just feel
I'll be
that
back. Keep talking.
it's not gonna. A lot of this generation's gonna like it. It had the freaking porgs in it, and it had BB-8.
Porks.
Yeah. And for those edgy kids, it had a black BB-8. It'll sell. Seriously, it did. It'll sell. It'll sell toys. So I think it'll check Disney's boxes. They won't change anything. It'll keep going. You know.
If it's keep making money, why fix it?
Justice League finally failed.
Yeah, it did.
And so they have to go in a new direction.
Alright, guys, to wrap this up, Gaggy, if you had to give the movie a rating, what would you give it?
Like a 1 out of 10?
Sure.
Probably a 6.
6? Mike, on our scale, what would you give it?
Illegally download it.
Blown, on a scale of A to B, what would you give it?
A to B. That's not quite range.
Ass to buy.
I thought it was garbage.
You cabbage!
If I would give it like a 3 out of 10. If I
You?
Definitely illegally steal it.
Yeah.
Well, and also you kind of just want to see it just for the sake of being Star Wars, but like,
no!
Don't give them money.
No! Do not see this fucking movie. It will destroy your childhood and all children you might have in the future.